Working all year just to make it
All right, y'all,
last.
what's up? This is
Bags
Vandal
packing, no
here,
slacking.
back with another DAOdrops interview. I've got the man himself, OMB. Is that how you want me to introduce you? OMB or Bit
Yeah.
Savage or Mark? Like
Um. Yeah, it's a playoff womb. WOMB womb.
all
So
right,
I'm Ohm. Uh, and just pulling from the primordial waters of space, deep space, and the creation, the vat of it all. So I chose that name for now. I change my name from time to time. Um, yeah, so Ohm, and just pouring from that source, creating.
nice. And I guess for people who don't like already know you or your work or follow you on Twitter, maybe just give a brief introduction about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Mark Savage. I've been performing, I think, all my life. Well, no, since I was 11, 12, and I've become a storyteller. So I love lyrics, I love poetry, I love crafting a story, I love emotion, I love human emotion, and how it interacts with just the outside world. uh, a little bit more about me. I love nature, so I look to nature and I look at the ancient technology of nature. I love the human body. I look at the biomechanics of what we're made of, the ancient technology of what we have, and I'm like, everything that I need access to is in front of me. I just have to pay attention, meditate, slow down, and just really tap in. Tap into my inner self. So that's where my foundation of my storytelling comes from, and where my purpose, my calling. So just knowing that information empowers me, so I seek to empower others. I start with myself, and I just want to spread that to the world. And so fast forward to today, I've been a filmmaker for the past decade, almost 12 years now. And coming into the blockchain space, I had to learn the tech. Going in just as an investor, it didn't resonate. I said, there's something more here. So the past 4 years, been researching, studying a lot, and I'm finally, back to creating. I was out here in LA. I was painting, doing fashion, having shows. Stopped everything. I went on a mini hiatus and just learned as much as I could. And now I'm back, baby. Back to painting. I got a clothing line I'm going to launch, but the clothing line is going to be physical and digital. I got some spoken word, spoken rap I'm going to release. And I've always been writing. I have journals upon journals of just writing. So I have a lot of material. And I can now present it in a way where it resonates with me. I've learned how to do 3D virtual world building, and I already knew After Effects. So me picking up Blender and other programs, it was easy, because I have the work ethic and I know how these programs work. Um, so now it's about just me. What direction do I want to take? How do I want to create these trends? I want to be a trendsetter. I am a pioneer, and I just sit down and think and say, this is what I want to do, and I do it. And then I kind of get around like minds, and I do see what's going on out there in the world, but I'm like, that's just a slither of what's possible. So I'm all about building worlds, building universes, and uh and empowering others.
That's a beautiful intro, my man. I'm curious. What was your like aha moment like when it comes to NFTs specifically? Was it? Could you pinpoint that?
Yeah, so 2019, I think it was around my birthday. My birthday's coming up. March. It's around March. It's Engine's birthday. So Engine, and before this, OpenSea were doing things. There was other platforms doing things, but it didn't click. And then when Engine released their wallet, and then I could see the NFT in the wallet, and I said I can make my art as an NFT. That's when it clicked. I said, what? And I just had to sit down and think. It was like, okay, so I can take my creativity, make a token out of it, a non-fungible token, and sell it or trade it or gift it. I was like, okay, this is what. And then the click was, okay, there's 21 million Bitcoins, but I only have this one NFT painting. I think this painting may be more than one Bitcoin in the long term. So that was the biggest click. It was like, okay, human. It came down to human expression. A human or a group of humans created Bitcoin. Humans created Ethereum. It's the human. interaction, the human expression. We are the creations. We are the value. It's us who needs to tap in, not these tokens.
Yeah, we've kind of like, I guess, been witnessing the evolution of like a new art renaissance in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And, coming into it, people look at NFTs and, aside from collectibles and crypto kitties and sort of in-game video game assets and these sort of things that what Engine is doing with their gaming platforms and the virtual land and so on and so forth. When it comes to art and music, I think that a lot of us are still kind of thinking along those, uh, that linear viewpoint of like translating what already exists, say
yeah,
MP3s or JPEGs, and then kind of embedding those things into NFTs. Now,
yeah,
the beauty of NFTs is their programmability, and I like to see them as like an experience,
yeah,
unique experiences, like you were saying, that scarcity. There's only one of this, or a couple of these, right, that for
yeah.
the long term have that value. What are the type of things that you hope or want to do with NFTs? Because before we started recording, you were talking about about the platform that you're planning to build, and maybe you can kind of go into that a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the platform I'm working on is called Adore, and the simplest way to put it is I see it as a doorway for the traditional creatives to enter into this virtual space, as well as current virtual creators to see a different way of thinking. So at Adore, like you said, it's all about that experience. So I think my NFTs last year, I called them AVUs, audio visual utility tokens, and now I think they got another handle of like Mewu's MEWU, media experiences with utility. So now, like you said, when Ethereum came on the scene, you could program money. NFTs, you can program art and experiences. So me, with the Adore, I'm focused on bringing experiences that can interact with humans in a positive manner. So, some people we know about media commercials and they target our minds to do certain things or we want a Rolls Royce, we want a Lexus, we want a Lamborghini. What if we could use these NFTs or this media to say we want a clear mind. We want a beautiful day. We want things in a moment that can really affect us. Not these material things, but really to build us as a human, as a whole being. So that's the foundation of what I'm thinking. The level of how I'm approaching other creators, other companies. Um, Looking to start a consultant agency, but say, hey, this is a chance where we can take this form of media and really be conscious of what we want to put out there, the world we want to create. It's we don't have to sit back and say, oh, this is on the news. No, we can create what we want, be conscious of the emotion and the vibration we're putting out there. And that's really the core of what I'm piecing together.
Hmm. Let's pull it back to your creations, your art, and your approach to creating specifically NFTs, and maybe even more specifically the Genesis Part One. Maybe you can kind of give us that Genesis story to the Genesis.
Yeah, so dropping the Genesis Part One on DAO Records, and I just I get these. It's like if you ever seen the movie The Matrix or Lucy, the information's it's out there. My hair, it's like little antennas. I kind of get signals and signs and just thoughts that come into my mind, and I speak it out. So the Genesis Part One plays on just this atmosphere of people wanting to be sovereign, the crypto space, people wanting to be free, um, breaking traditions and old norms, setting up new paradigms. If we are humans of habit, to break those habits, you have to wake up and step outside of your comfort zone. You have to wake up and tell a new narrative. Wake up and say, today I'm going on a vacation, or today I'm a millionaire. It's just something, just one thing, one or two things new that can just shift you out of your normal automated everyday routine. So the Genesis is a nudge in a direction of stepping out of your comfort zone. Because I've been, as an athlete, as a speaker, as a performer, I got used and I love stepping out of my comfort zone and just trying new things. And me being in the blockchain space is like just diving way out of my comfort zone. And I had to force myself. I had to continue to force myself to learn. It's a big learning curve, but I had to push all the way.
So tell us about the vat. Like, where is that come from? Is that like the chalice of the source, the vessel? Um, Maybe explain that
Yeah,
for the viewers.
the source. So I mean, I I'm not too religious, but I believe everything and anything is possible on Earth in this realm. We get to come here and experience whatever we like. So for me, the source is like source energy, you know, material, immaterial, tangible, intangible, money, which is energy. I see everything as source, and that source, that is like going back to origin of spirit or whatever you want to see it as, light. It's just this epicenter or this I would say this source of information that, the one way to explain it is kind of like unconditional love. So if you could view something as an observer and just view it for what it is, you would approach it different. You're going to talk about it different. And this past year, 2020, has been very interesting because if you want to be an observer, it's like people want to pull you this way, you want to pull you that way. And you're like, see what's going on, and yeah, this is bad, and that also is bad. It's just ridiculous. But we I believe we each have a role. We each have a we can tap into ourselves and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and move on it. You know, no one should guilt you into doing anything. It's like we all have a role. Let's step into those roles, empower each other, love each other, and help one another.
And the way that you want to achieve that is through the sound, the music, the visuals. Tell us kind of like, I guess, the bigger picture. So this is Genesis Part One. How does that fit into the bigger picture of what you want to offer?
Yeah, so it's kind of all unfolding, and really the bigger picture is a place of acceptance. Starting with self acceptance. I me putting myself out there, creating my art, doing my paintings, putting my music out there. That's someone told me being vulnerable is the strongest thing you can do. And sometimes I put something out there. It's like cool, I put it out there, and then sometimes I make something and I'm like, do I want to put this out there? Just different things can creep in, and it's like, yeah, put it out there. And being a creator, a lyricist, I'm like, I've fallen in love with being able to put things out there, getting feedback, seeing how people feel from it, and adjusting. It's like, and that takes time, to put yourself out there, and allow others to view it, experience it, and say, hey, what about this? Or hey, I like that. And before the Genesis, I put out something called it's like a meditative NFT. And when people were viewing it, they were like, yo, I'm being transformed while I'm watching this and hearing it. And that's exactly what I wanted to put out there. So, me making the Genesis is the next step in just self-expression and possibly be an example to others. Say you can put yourself out there. It's okay. You don't have to have this glorious picture of how things should be. Yes, you can kind of perfect certain things, but still put yourself out there and grow.
Yeah, you were mentioning that the acceptance and the self acceptance and not worrying about what other people think, but being content in who you are and your expression. And with like the visual, it's got me intrigued. The visual element of this track, like you said, this is the first frame of the thing, and I'm like, I want to see it. I want to see the rest of it. And I don't know if you want to give too much away now, or maybe this is something like it's a flow and it will evolve. Like if there's a bit more you can kind of offer. the viewers
Yeah,
and me personally, because I'm curious.
definitely. So there's some inspiration from the Matrix, red and blue pill, and it's kind of pop culture now. Red or blue pill, Republican, Democrat. What you gonna do? The polarity of it all. Um, so yeah, it's going to unfold. So I have this choice, as if you might say, it's a choice of what you want to take, and depending on how the public responds, it's going to be which way I go with my next releases. I have a few ideas, but like I said, I'm interested in building virtual worlds. So it's going to expand into this virtual story where we enter this world, and it's like kind of personally, each one viewing it, they're taking a journey as well. There's tons of books on the hero's journey and how, when you look back on your own life, all the things you had to go through. So I'll incorporate little pieces of me in the lyrics and the visuals, and then I'll see like the global response and say, okay, this is where society is going, or this is where the conversation is going. You kind of narrate and weave this interesting story.
So you mentioned virtual worlds, and like right now, this interview is being played in a virtual world,
Yep,
in
yep.
our venue in the Beatrice Plaza in Cryptovoxels. Is there a particular virtual world that you have in mind for this, and maybe like how can we sort of in advance of its creation, kind of imagine it or visualize it in our minds?
Yeah, so I mean, the first layer would be like the NFT. So in the NFT creation of itself, I will construct a possible world, and it could either be a planet, or in nature, or a city. And then down the line, I'm looking to have a door land, and a door land will be different universes. So I love how voxels. I was there kind of when voxels started out, level voxels, and Decentraland are doing, and even Minecraft. So I'm kind of telling my developers we need to have a place where, kind of like the Sims, like you can pop into one space, go through a portal, pop into another space. It's kind of connecting universes, and it may come down to being either a treasure hunt or just how Pokemon Go, you're collecting Pokemon, but really you can collect these experiences or collect these sayings, to a path of self enlightenment. Who knows? we'll kind of see where it goes.
Hmm. That's super cool, man, and like that the storytelling aspect, because like I think if people just on the surface see the NFT, and you know, like of course lyrically and poetically, what the story you've woven, it has it can it has an impact, and I think people who soak that in will experience that impact, but maybe they won't see the bigger picture really. And you know, I'm glad that we're having this conversation, and that you're able to, you know, tell people a bit more about the vision and more about what's sort of behind this genesis and the creation, so that they can see for themselves and not maybe overlook it as just another NFT, or you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah, it's
the
true.
in the swamp of NFTs, we've got some NFTs that stand out more than the others, and you know, these are the NFTs that tell a story that you know, have a future value, not only in themselves as non-fungible tokens, but as well as connecting to a bigger picture, connecting to something bigger than just
Yeah.
that NFT. And I love how your approach to it is very like, you know, I think we share similar thoughts on how to approach NFTs, and it's really sort of refreshing to see, because you know, I think some people maybe they're coming into the space with a bit less imagination. No disrespect
Mm,
to the people out there, but
not yet.
I see, like, you know, these are NFTs. We can do so much more than just simply what people are doing at the moment, and I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that that's sort of the direction, you know, that you're taking with it as well, and building your own things. Like you mentioned about creating your own virtual world, and working with developers and stuff. And how has that, like, you also mentioned um, wrapping your brain around this whole new industry and the learning curve and stuff. Like maybe go a bit more into that and that experience of pulling yourself out of that comfort zone and then moving into this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was I feel like for a certain generation, it's kind of inevitable getting into the technology, getting into the cybersecurity industry. So for me, it was like there was something inside of me that was like, this is me. This is where I got to be. So in early 2017, I was doing art, doing some cool stuff, being in galleries, and I'm a super creative, so it was real easy to me. um, then when it came to investing, getting some sustainability, getting a financial floor or wealth building, that's a different conversation. So I was like, okay, do I want to go to Wall Street? What do I want to do? And Bitcoin was popping up. Bitcoin, it was $700, $800. I was ignoring it. And then something just clicked and was like, okay, I need to invest and learn. And we can see it now today, how we're going from this industry of graphs, charts, numbers to visuals and sounds, audio reactive, as Lady Fee would call it, and Cody. But we're bringing in that human expression, that human creation, and a lot more people can resonate with it. They can digest it, comprehend it. So we're not just looking at, oh, this is the halvening, the hash, whatever the charts show. It's just numbers, and charts don't get along with everybody. So I love the collaboration, especially with developers, because now, when you have the back end and the front end, now you can bring in this creative, this poet or this artist or this musician who can bring another level of art, because the developing can be a form of art as well. And then now when you cross collaborate with people around the world, like many of these open source communities are doing, it's now you're speaking the language of nature, because nature is has been coded, if you believe it. There's some mathematics in nature, but the next layer, is the fruit, it's the trees, it's the farming. So I see it as this is the it's almost like a singularity point, and kind of things are sprouting from it.
What are some of your concerns? Like, a lot of emphasis has been put on technology, and there's this
Yeah.
sort of movement to incorporate technology in our biology, and so on and so forth, right? Like it can become a slippery slope really at a certain point. So how do you see the where we can find a balance, because it really is about having that balance with the earth, with the nature,
Yeah.
with ourselves as humans, with our environment, and with the technology. How do you see that?
Yeah, so I'm balance and harmony is key. Another beautiful thing about 2020, it shook up. I want to say it kind of shook up the world, but a lot of people on an individual level, it allowed them to stop and freeze and pause, and which was a good thing, I see, because now there can be a reset. You know, People can question YouTube, they can question Google, they can question Instagram, because if you don't question them, then it can lead to, okay, the next upgrade of Apple is putting this chip in your finger. You're like, oh, what are we doing? You're just accepting it, or no, we're questioning who owns our stuff. Yes, we freely upload everything to Facebook and Google and Instagram, and they're data mining us. They're just collecting and collecting, and some say it's for a better experience. Some say it's to feed algorithms so they can, interact with us on a better level. I'm like, I want the people to get in on this, to have a say, to say, you know what, we want to build this next level of society in this direction. Um, there can be a lot of Elon Musk's running around. You don't have to praise Elon Musk. He's doing some cool stuff. Everyone else can do some cool stuff as well. We can create the companies we want. We can create the algorithms we want, and the platforms as well. So it's like we no longer have to look to these big corporations and these so-called gatekeepers. Now we can have a seat at, whatever table we like. We can create the table we want, and we don't have to be a victim. And that's the key. You don't have to be a victim. You can create what you like and move forward and be empowered.
Yeah, that's a great statement. The last bit there, the empowerment, because I think that's what the technology really enables people to achieve, and the decentralized nature of it. And this is something that I personally have not, not struggled with the concept myself, but in explaining it to other people, because we live
Hmm.
in such a centralized world and people are
Yeah.
used to this centralization and relying on other entities to, look out for us or safeguard our money or our interests or governments.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the move to decentralization, I feel, is the most important movement in human history that is upon us. That we have the technology now to be able to do this to to a degree that everybody can essentially benefit, so long as we have electricity and access to the technical, the hardware essentially, and the knowledge.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on decentralization and how you have these conversations with people who are outside of this space?
Yeah. I mean, so decentralization, I see it as, I champion it. It's a cool thing. Like, so as a creative, I can get paid in Bitcoin. I can get paid in Ether or whatever token altcoin I want to. And then I can take that token and hire a developer in Australia, Nigeria, around the world. So now it's a place where I can see as a creator and as a builder and entrepreneur where I can empower myself and others around the world. So I feel like decentralization is people take the pacifier out of their mouth, just out of their life and say, okay, it's a little bit more responsibility, yes, but that's life. It's like if you've seen the past trend of governments and how they do what they're most like what's in their interest, not for the people. Now it's like as Bitcoin grows in popular demand, as the mainstream covers it, now people can question, okay, I see what decentralization is. Is it for me? And some people, uh, after 2008, after being furloughed in 2020, it's like it's a yes. So when I approach individuals, I kind of tell them, what I'm into, what I do, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, this," and I always tell them, some people come to me, should I invest in Bitcoin? I'm saying you should just accept Bitcoin, get paid in Bitcoin, get paid in Ether, and learn. I say take an hour a day to learn, and just get into space. And this is where it's going. And people I've been telling for the past 4 years, they're coming around like, okay, well, what do I need to do? I'm like, all right, start use Cash App, get a Kraken account. I tell them just simple things, and I let them know eventually or right now, when you make your own wallet, you're becoming your own bank. Usually the bank does this process, but now you are your own custody. So I give them baby steps. So, okay, here, you bought your first Bitcoin, or not your first Bitcoin, but your fraction of a Bitcoin. People are like, do I have to buy a whole Bitcoin? If you got the money, you could do it. But you can buy a fraction. Then I go into risk management. So I kind of go into the psychology of how they can approach the space and how they can be stress free and comfortable. But then I say, okay, here's how you write down private keys and see, and I keep doing it. Say, okay, you got to get used to this. This has to be a new habit, a new normal, and just get comfortable with it. So I'm here to hold hands. I'm here to show people how they can ease their way in, without saying, okay, I'm going to put my life savings in this and lose it. It's like you got to just get familiar. And there's a lot of maximalists and a lot of people that are like, own your private public keys, own your money. But you're gonna have people losing their savings out here. It's like you gotta take your time and spoon feed people, you know. So I'm here for that.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier before we started recording about what you're doing on Clubhouse and the conversations, and
Yeah,
maybe you can share a bit on that, and how people can find you, and at what times that you're doing your Clubhouse show.
definitely, definitely. So I'm on Twitter a lot, Phenomenal Mark, Instagram a little bit, and so Clubhouse sprouted up out of this collective I was a part of, or I still am a part of, and my first chat on there, I have it like 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday. So if you log into Clubhouse on Wednesday morning, you're going to see my room in the hallway, and that room is on the collaboration of art, fashion, music, and technology. Bringing just all these industries together to create the experiences, to create a new normal. New traditions. And for me, an album release is going to look a lot different than when I released my stuff 10 years ago. So like physical, virtual, wearables, things for avatars. So we have a talk, and different people come into the room. You have different curators, different collectors. Even museums. Like there's a lot of people that come in a room and they want to learn. So I kind of, all the moderators and people on stage share their experiences, what they're doing, what they've been up to. And some people say, it's too much. It's a lot. And I'm like, yes, it's a lot. All you can do is start, get around people that are willing to teach you the right way. So it's like, it's just a lot going on in Clubhouse. And I feel, here's how you mint and go do this. And I want 50%. And oh man, it's getting crazy in there. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. You go ahead.
I know. So yeah, I just keep it simple, and I just made two other rooms I'm going to talk about. If you really want to be a millionaire in the crypto space, there's a different way to do it. Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to $100,000, that's a 2x. If Ethereum goes to $5,000, that's like a 2-3x. But there's other altcoins that's going to 10x and 100x. There's other platforms that's going to be like a Ethereum, like a Bitcoin. They're a penny. A lot of things are going up right now, so you're going to get in. But there's a lot of other platforms and people you can invest in that's going to give you a larger return. And that goes back to risk management. If you make $50,000 a year, you should only be investing $5,000 or maybe $2,000. Like it should be something you can go to sleep on. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you should not be borrowing and getting credit cards. You want to just start off with what you can go to sleep with. If it's $50, start with $50. I started there. I started from $100 and I had to build my way up, so don't overextend, don't overcommit. Just start comfortably and build.
Nice. I guess on that note, we're here in Cryptovoxels now for DAOdrops and OMB, aka Mark Savage, Bit Savage. I want to thank you for taking the time, and this has been like we hadn't had a chance really to talk before this, but I'm really glad that we had this chat, and
Definitely.
I'm super interested to see where you plan and where you're taking things next, and I'm glad that you could be a part of our journey as well, and that we could share this aspect of the journey together. The Genesis Part One, it's out now. It is up on OpenSea. We're using OpenSea mainly to mitigate the gas costs and everything else happening in the Ethereum land. And is there any sort of not last words, but closing remarks that you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, I just I champion, I encourage collaboration. Let's all work together, build each other, have healthy competition, healthy conversation, and build one another up. If you see something that I can improve on, let me know. It's if I see other things others can improve on, I'll hit them up, let them know, and we can work together and we can all rise. So I say, go check the songs out, go check out DAOrecords, hit us up on Twitter, join it Cryptovoxels, retweet, take a screenshot and retweet wherever you're at, share it, and spread the love, man.
Awesome, Mark. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to push
Yes,
pause on
indeed.
the record button, and we can
All right.
continue to chat a little bit more. All right,
Cool,
y'all.
man.
DAOdrops, the Genesis Part
I appreciate
1.
it. Thank you.
I love.
You trying to focus. Working all year.